We're going to talk about what a percent is and how to work with them in this section. So a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. Okay. And actually the word percent really means for each 100. Per means for each. And then cent means 100. So if I say 2%, that means 2 for each 100. If I asked you what 2% of 100 was, well, I would get 2 for each 100. So my answer would be 2. So let's talk about expressing each ratio as a percent. For example, 1. So 4 out of 100. Well, that's already a ratio, 4 out of 100. And a percent is a ratio that compares a number to 100. So 4 out of 100 is simply 4%. So that would be my answer. Okay, next we have 3 to 5. Okay, this is a ratio in a different form, but we can switch it to a fraction if we want. The reason we're going to do this is a ratio, but it's not comparing a number to 100. It's comparing a number to 5. I want to make it compare a number to 100. So, if I write 3/5 equals x over 100, this is going to help me find an equivalent fraction where I am going to compare a number to 100. And it's going to have the same value as 3/5. So we've learned a couple ways to solve these. The most popular is to cross multiply. So we'll say cross multiply. Or you could use equivalent fractions and ask yourself, 5 times 1 is 100, and do the same thing to 3. But, so you say cross multiply or use equivalent fractions. Okay, let's cross multiply to solve for that number x. So 5 times x, 5x, should equal 3 times 100. And I'm just going to put 300. Now I have a one-step equation, so I just need to divide both sides by 5. 300 divided by 5 is 60. So x equals 60. Now it's asking for an actual percent. So now that I have 60 over 100, that is a number, or that's a ratio of a number compared to 100. So my answer is actually going to be 60%. Because 60 out of 100 is 60%. That's example 1. Let's look at a different one. It says you can write proportions to solve percent problems. Kind of like we just did. In a survey given to NHHS students, 98 out of 387 students said they were freshmen. What percent of NHHS students are freshmen? Okay, so let's use a proportion to figure this out. We'll talk about a different way in a bit, but we're going to use a proportion. So I know that 98 out of 387 are freshmen. I'm looking for a percent, so I want to know, okay, if it's 98 out of 387, what number is that out of 100? So again, I set up a proportion. I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply here, and I'll be able to figure out my number over 100, which is my percent. So 98 times 100 should equal 387 times x. I'm just doing my diagonal cross products. This gives me 9,800. Okay, now I need to divide both sides by 387 to get x by itself. And when I do that on the calculator, I get x to be about 25.32. So that's my number over 100. I found x. So it's my number over 100. So that's my percent. So that's 25.32%. That's how many, that's the percentage of people that are freshmen at New Haven High School. Okay, so go ahead and flip to the other side, or sorry, continue with your notes. Next, it says you can write a decimal as a fraction with a denominator of 100 before writing as a percent. So it says write each decimal as a percent. So I have 0.63. Now, if I think back to what I know about decimals, I know that 0.63 is 63 hundredths. This is in the hundredths place, and I know the way I would say this is 63 hundredths, which I can also write as a fraction, 63 hundredths. Now I have a number over 100, which is a percent. It's a ratio of a number compared to 100. So this is equal to 63%. Now I have 7 hundredths. This is in the hundredths place.
First interruption. Bowling team and wrestling team. Make sure to come grab your stuff and report back to your bus. Again, wrestlers and bowlers, leave and come get your stuff and get ready to report to your bus. Thank you.
Okay. So that's 7 hundredths. So I can write it as 7 over 100. 7 hundredths. It's a ratio of a number compared to 100. So this is just 7%. Okay, next I have 5 thousandths. So let's see. 5 thousandths. 0.005. The 5 is in the thousandths place. So 5 thousandths. Well, that's not a number over 100, so I can't really write it as a percent yet. But so this one's a little bit different. If I have 5 out of 1,000, what would my number be out of 100? Well, I know to get from well, okay, I could cross multiply. That's the way you guys like to do it. So let's cross multiply. 5 times 100 is 500. 1,000 times x is 1,000x. And now divide both sides by 1,000. 500 divided by 1,000 is 0.5. So I get 0.5% because now I solved for x, which is now a number out of 100, and I got 0.5. So I can say that's 0.5%. Okay, next I have 1.34. So this is actually 1 whole and then 34 hundredths. So the way I would write this as a mixed number is 1 and 34 hundredths. Okay, it's got a denominator of 0, but I still have this 1 over here. So let's change this to an improper fraction so that I just have a, I don't have a whole number. So 100 times 1 is 100 plus 34, 134 over 100. Okay, so now I have a number over 100. So it's a ratio. I can say this is 134%, which is more than 1 whole. 1 whole would equal 100%. Okay.